moon.
All right. Welcome, welcome. If we could start with your name and where you're from.
Yeah, my name is Mike Berry. I am from Washington, D.C., the greatest city in the world, maybe contrary to other
Okay.
people's opinions.
Starting right off with the hot takes. I
There
like
we
it.
go.
Okay. And we are going to be talking a little bit about Legion today. First, so Adepticon's coming up, and we want to know what faction you're going to be playing, and if you're willing to share what your list is going to be.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't actually know right now. We're
Nice.
we're we're well into testing season. Since this isn't gonna be shown to anybody until after people know what I'm playing, I can spill the beans on what we're testing. Um, I put Geonosians through their paces over the last month or so. I've gotten about 30 games
Okay.
in. They're off the list, unfortunately.
Ooh,
They just didn't quite make the cut. Turns out white saves at range 2 are not really where you want to be.
weird.
Uh, imagine that.
Weird.
I think overall our playtesting group is pretty firmly on something in the like Anakin Padme, Yoda Padme, or Bosk Pike Gunline kind of
Oh, okay.
sphere. Um, I think as far as like kind of like standard brews, I will say I took gin to Cherokee Open last week and was pleasantly surprised with how that
Really?
listed. Yeah, it was Han gin with the concept being you reckless diversion gin and
With the danger sense and nimble.
yeah, and you took well, she's got a steam leader too, and you just took some Ewoks to back
Because
that
why
up.
not? Because
Because
why
why
not?
not, right? Yeah. And it did
Could you
really
get
well.
C3? You can't get C3PO in there, can you?
I mean, you probably could take out
To
like a special
trigger,
forces unit.
no, sorry, the Bright Tree Village C3PO to trigger the crit guardianing.
Oh, because it's got gin, unfortunately, no.
Okay.
But that would be really good for sure. For
It
sure.
is, it
I
is.
found that it didn't matter, but I think overall the rebels are just like not good enough on turns you're not reckless diversioning for that to be like anything more than a one trick pony. So I think we're on Republic, we're on Shadow Collective for sure.
Okay.
And we'll see how it pans out. I mean, I'll probably end up just playing Yoda Padme, even though it's pretty bad against Anakin.
Mm, okay. Okay. Um, what do you see are your playing strengths with,
I th
yeah, with
yeah,
your lists and how you play?
I think overall, my play strengths are kind of coming up with unique answers for situations that just kind of evolve over the course of a game. I definitely like evolving to the game state, I think is my strong suit. I think in
Could you
that
give us
realm,
an example, kind of,
yeah,
for that?
yeah, I think um the big example I think is just like the list play style of navigating from like Anakin to Yoda is that like you just have far more options with Yoda and being able to kind of like branch out. I actually really like playing bombing run with Yoda Padme. Like it's great. Sometimes you can really get in there. And a big piece of that is just being able to have the pieces in play to be able to execute on a strategy that maybe your opponent can't see, which I think
Okay.
is one of the strengths that Yoda I think presents. The Anakin Padme is just
Yes.
like it's like here we are. We don't have anything kind of everything's face up on the table with that list, right?
Right.
Similarly with like Pike's Bosk, it's just like, well, we've got Rampage and we're gonna do something a little weird
Hmm.
once, but there you can't really get crazy. Guidance really allows you to come up with some kind of crazy wackadoodle solutions where you're triple moving a unit or like guidancing a unit into a fire support position that your opponent didn't
Hmm.
expect, or something to that effect. So
Get
uh,
some quad moves even on Yoda
yeah,
one pip.
for sure, you can really catch people off guard with certain kind of combos. So I'd say that that's kind of my strong suit, and I think I'm going to try and lean into that
I think Yoda helps enable that a lot.
for
Like,
sure.
I agree. I agree. Okay. What about weaknesses or flaws in your style of play?
I think the biggest weakness to my style of play is I like the gunline fight with like a little spice. I don't like the gunline fight with like you're playing 14 act Ewoks and I'm playing 8 activations, or you're playing like 12 activation staps and we're playing bombing run. I definitely am. I'm used to practicing and training in a situation where we're fighting kind of like a standard kind of competitive gunline fight. That's where I live and kind of die as far as
Okay.
my strong suits go. So when it comes to what I don't want to see wacky jank across the table for me.
Just because you have to come up with solutions that you're not used to coming up with, or
I mean, just because it really requires you to kind of play the game in a different way. I think I definitely have solutions for the Ewoks, definitely have solutions for like the
Mhm.
stat lists. I've kind of got like a scripted playbook that I can go to there, but um, when people come up with creative things with those lists, I think one great example is I played against experimental droids at Cherokee, and he had bombing run in his deck with no vehicles. But it turns out bombing run is like really great if you're doing speed 3 moves with your special
Yeah,
forces and core units.
that's
So,
true. That's true.
it's like it's stuff like that that you like maybe haven't seen before. I imagine a lot of people will see that one specifically before Worlds, but I just like there's going to be stuff at Worlds this year that people are not expecting. So I would like to not get caught off guard by, for instance, like the first iteration of Pink Suns, like
Right.
nobody was expecting that, and people that weren't expecting it at Worlds last year got hit pretty hard,
There's a ton of echo chambers out there that are silently brewing their own crazy stuff. Like that is definitely Worlds is where it all comes together, and you're gonna see them.
for sure.
Um, cool. Next question is, what would be your fondest or most memorable in-game moment?
My most memorable in-game moment ended with a Tiger Woods like fist bump yell across the room at a store called Huzzah Hobbies. I was playing against Kyle Dornbos, which many of you may know from the Notorious Scoundrels podcast.
Uh-huh.
Um, and we were playing Sabotage the Moisture Evaporators. This was like pretty early on in Legion's career, like Legion's lifetime. And I was red on Vaps, and I was playing Darth Vader, Commander Darth Vader, Bosk, and it was like a gun line. He was playing Luke Sabine, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. And I was able to double tap Sabine, kill her, and bounce away with Bosk to flip the script and essentially make me blue on Vaps.
Yeah.
Um, which was a big deal. Many people that know Kyle like know he plays pretty cagey. I tend to like to play a little bit more aggressive. I think nowadays it's actually reversed, but um it was one of those moments where it probably shouldn't have happened, but one of the things I really like about the dichotomy on Sabotage and Moisture Evaporators is it really forces somebody to gamble a little bit. You kind of have to
Yeah.
you,
Yep.
you have to gamble a little bit and make a spicy play in order to change the game state. And it was one of those situations where I was like, well, if I don't do anything, I'm just going to lose. So let's gamble let's bet the game. And I actually ended up losing Bosk on the end of that play, but the thing was that Sabine cost way more than Boss, so it didn't matter,
Bounty
right?
aside was
Bounty
the victory
aside.
points. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, all right, I'm still up. Like I will trade Boss for Sabine 10 out of 10 times in that situation. And I ended up winning because he had to run his entire army into Vader to win that game. This was
Just
before burst of speed. This was just speed one Vader with
yeah.
no force choke, none of that jazz. And